Aha. Well, good morning, Gene. Um, so I would like to begin our conversation with the first topic we had asked all the applicants to write about, and that is the biblical theology, the actual doctrine of justification by faith. Would you like to share with us that experience of what you discovered and what you learned as you looked at that from a theological perspective?
Yes, so the theological perspective for me is like it was like an eye opening. I was studying this topic this past semester for this past year. I did my homiletical hermeneutics class on justification by through faith, and it was like somehow I understand, and one time I don't understand, and then I get lost in the on the way. But there's multiple verses that opened my mind, and one of the stories of the Bible, like the narrative that opened my eyes, was the story of Abraham when God chose him to teach his children. And when I read the passage, I always ask myself, why God chose Abraham? Why didn't He choose other people? And from that, when I studied the whole narrative, I saw that God chose him because he was right, like everything, like every decision he was making was right. And in that time that Abraham was living, no one else was making the good decision. No one else was like caring for other people. So God chose him to teach everyone, every nation around him, to become righteous. So the justification in the Bible is like you become a righteous person. Like every decision that you make, you don't make it because of egocentric desire, like to serve yourself, but to serve the humanity. So God chose Abraham to serve humanity because he never thought about himself, but he thought like, okay, what I'm doing is because of God. Like God chose me, God want me to go somewhere. I'm obeying him without without my own desires, like without me wanting it. So the biblical perspective has many way you can go through it, but I think one of my I took like First Corinthians 9 verse 9, which is, "No, the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God." So just because of this verse, you know that without you being righteous, you will not go to heaven. So we need to restore our relationship with Jesus, who is the one who make us righteous,
Mhm.
in order to go to heaven. Many people, like I've been talking with some friend yesterday on the same topic about righteousness. Many people think like, okay, justification or righteousness is something that we receive when we accept baptism, and we become righteous automatically. It's like a stamp that you received. And I've been debating with them. It's like righteousness is when you become someone who is right, like you make the right decision always. And this is, yes, God, Jesus made everything, the sacrifice. He's the one righteous, but he has a work to do in us to make us righteous as he is. So this is the whole biblical. It's like there's many like verses I could go through right now, but we don't want to make it so long. I know like if I made myself understood. So,
Uh-huh. So what I'm hearing you say is that righteousness comes only from Jesus.
yes.
And yeah, that's actually every character in the Bible that is in there is
Hmm.
one in which God has either made them who they are, or
Yes.
they're in there because they rejected the righteousness.
Hmm.
And that makes the Bible an interesting journey. So, Gene, in the study of the history of our church, Jones,
Yes.
Wagner, and Ellen White. What did you learn from their experience bringing the message to the church, having it met with a lack of enthusiasm? What did you learn from that?
Well, I know that it's not always you're welcoming, knowing that the church from his beginning start with young people, and sometimes when God used young people to bring us a message, to bring us like the gospel, the same young people who now are adult are stopping the same young people who they were. So it's like they not like we don't remember, like we don't get into mind that so like once we were young too, and then we were so enthusiastic to give that message, and then the church like become that same obstacle to stop like the people that we were in our young. So I've like this story of rejection of the message is I see many like our church leaders they reject the message because like they were boys, and they felt like okay we don't deserve to just listen to them, and whatever they say doesn't make sense. And another side like they were trying to protect a legacy because like since the church was pleading for the for the ceremonial law and for the for the Sabbath and all the stuff. So going to the justification by faith is like okay, don't keep the law, and the law will be kept by itself when you have when you have a relationship with Jesus. So everything they were working for, everything they were like fighting for, might have been disappeared like that. So they kind of trying to keep that legacy. Okay, we have to keep the Sabbath. We have to. This is our message that that is going to make people believe other stuff. So I can understand somehow why they was trying to stop them, but also another part we should not be stopping the message, like at least listen and try to understand where it come from, and then like them not listen to the sister Ellen G. White is like well even Ellen G. White backed them up, support them, everything, but they didn't like okay we don't want to.
It is interesting that even Ellen White's support of the message uh, wasn't fully accepted right away. So when we look at that history, we're we're looking at that transition from I have to do my duty, I have to do what is right to be saved,
Yeah.
uh, and then these young guys come along, like you said, boys. I
Hmm.
appreciated that. That's a good illustration.
Yeah.
And they come along and say, "Well, we're saved by Jesus. We're saved by
Yeah.
faith."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's an interesting dilemma.
Yeah.
Um,
It is very understandable in both sides. We can understand that we were like protecting the church, but somehow we forget that God is the one protecting us.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting that we still have some struggles with that today,
Yep.
and that's okay because God is still in charge, isn't he?
It is. It is.
Um, the third page we asked you to write was on the nature of Christ. Some people might think that's a little bit odd, but there's
Hmm.
something really important about the nature of Christ. What did you discover when you looked into that?
Well, the nature of Christ and the whole message is like is the main, is like the core of the whole message. It's like without you knowing Jesus, without you having a relationship with Jesus, the whole message doesn't have any meaning. Because like since I says like John 15 verse 5 to 12 to 14 is like I'm the vine. Like without me you're nothing. Like you become something because who I am. So much people sometimes like trying to live a Christian life without like they're trying to live a Christian life by keeping the law, the Ten Commandment, dress right, put a suit on, and all the stuff, and forget the whole relationship with Jesus, who's the one making you just or making you become the righteous person. So we just become a legalistic person. We just trying to show off people. And then in my paper, I show the story that Jesus gave about the Pharisee and the publican who the Pharisee was showing off like I give my tithes I fast multiple times a day a week and I do all the stuff and because of that I'm righteous. And Jesus said, no, you're not righteous. The other guy who's a sinner, but he shows that he has a relationship with me, even though like he recognizes his all his sins. But this person has a like is closer to me than you are because you're just showing yourself like, okay, I'm righteous. I don't have to do anything else. Like I'm already saved. So Jesus itself is the main person who will bring us to God, who will bring us into righteousness. He's the only one who is gonna work in us to become the person who is willing, like who he wants us to be. So without Jesus, there's not justification through faith.
Well, yeah, because without him, we don't have the gift of his righteousness. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the struggle, Gene, when you look at the tension um, with the history, and you look at that tension between the leadership of the church and Jones and Wagner? When you look backwards in time, we see where we've come from. How does that history speak to where we're at today, do you think?
Um, about the legalistic views, like can you explain?
Yeah. Have we learned our lesson or are we still struggling? I guess is my question.
Uh, I think we still struggling with legalistic. Yes, I do know. Like we have an identity to portray to the world. Like this is how Adventists are. This is how we are, and this is how we should act in public. This is how we should. And sometimes all our sermon that we listen in churches is like dictating people the doctrine, like the law, like of the Adventism. This is how you should be. How, and then we forget the whole message of teaching people or discipling people, Jesus, like teaching people to have a relationship with God, and then automatically by keeping the law, by everything else comes automatically by having a relationship with God. And I think in my paper, I give my own testimony. Is like since I was born in church, I was born being an Adventist family, and everything I was introduced for is like law, like you should do that, you should. But I never was focused on having a relationship with God. So yes, we're still struggling with the same problem today of showing the world this is Adventism. We are good. We are and now like inside of us we have many people that doesn't have relationship with Jesus. And then sometimes other people like visitors come to the church and then they don't they don't find like lovely people who will carry them, like who will like accept them, who will feel inviting. They just like see the church and then I see many people well dressed and then they come and sit and then they leave. No one asks them where they come from, where they are going, have they ate yet. So if we had a relationship with God, with Jesus, we automatically will be leaning to have like a one-on-one with people. Say, hey, what's how are you doing? Like to have a like look after people. But since we don't have, we most focus on the legalistic way. We just focus on the hollow side and showing ourselves that we are saint. We have well, yeah. I
So,
think we're still struggling with that.
so yeah, I think I'm hearing you say, Gene, that if we're dependent upon Christ, it moves us towards people to be kinder.
Yes,
Yeah. Where's your country of origin? Where
I'm from Haiti, and that's why
you're
you
from
might have
Haiti.
like
Excellent.
listen some weird
Yeah.
accents.
Um, yeah, well, I really appreciated the observations in your paper, and some of the things you said about visiting churches and that and I don't know if that's in Haiti or if in the States here, but yeah, we have a long ways to go to become loving and kind people. And I appreciated that observation in your paper. So the last thing we ask you to write about, Gene, is personal. Um, how do you see this? There were three parts of this page. How do you see this impacting you personally? How do you see this impacting your future ministry? And then when you look at the world church, how important is getting this message out to the world? So, so let's just walk through those three steps. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, in my personal view is like yes, this message has impacted me so much because yes, I was born in church and I was so much like so focused on portraying the outside part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like yes, I'm like a person of good manners, of a person respectful and all the stuff. Sometimes I get lost in showing people that I'm a person of good manners, and then I don't fix the inner part of it, which is to have a relationship with God. And then sometimes we just like it's become a second priority. Like Jesus is second priority, and the first priority is like I present myself right in front of people. So and this paper like helped me to understand like the main important thing is like I should be focusing more in my relationship with God, a relationship with Jesus, because like justification come from Him, and He's the one who will change me, make me do the right thing. It will not be like a burden. It will not be a, a chore for me to be looking. Okay, I have to do this right now because it sounds right, it looks right, and people will like it. So sometimes I like from someone who was born in church. Sometimes I focus on that. So in my ministry, I do know like in the future, I will focus more on teaching more about God, about Jesus, like discipling. Like if I have a Bible study, I do know like make people develop that relationship with Jesus. And this is globally the whole church should be focusing on like because since Sister Ellen White says like this is the third angel message. So if it is the last message, and our the message will be preached by testimonies, and these testimonies come from the relationship that we have with God. So if that testimony gonna preach the word, so we should teach every member to develop that relationship, to focus on the main thing that develop your relationship with Jesus, and that from that relationship that you have with Jesus, your testimonies will preach the gospel that we have to preach.
Um, I'd like to ask you a sort of a unique question. Uh,
Yes.
Gene, what do you think our church would look like if in every pastor in your future ministry, what if our children, say when they're 7 or 8 years old, discovered this message and grew up with this message that, it is Christ in you, the hope of glory? What do you think our church would look like if
Wow.
our ministry produced that truth in our children, how different do you think the church could be?
Well, I think we will go back toward the first church back in Acts, where everyone was so loving, everyone was caring for everyone. Like, I don't care what I have. Like, if you have a need, I'll care for you. And if I have a need, like I cannot provide for myself, like we'll have a church so loving that everyone believe. Like, I went to that church, I left, like I felt so loved, so belong to that community. I don't want to leave that community anymore. But sometimes, like, yeah, nowadays, like, since sometimes people can get like tired. Let's say there's one person that understand the message, and then they start caring for the people, and then they care, but no one cares back to them. So they get like, okay, I give myself, but God, who is gonna take care of me? Like, it's a community thing. So yes, we should recharge ourselves in Jesus, but this is the whole community have to find that message, and then to create that message so everyone can come and say, okay, well, this is where I want to be. And our children will not feel like they're alienated from the message, because many of our kids are from the church, because they left church because they never understood the gospel, because the parents were so hollow. They were showing a Christianity outside the house, but in house they were like doing, they didn't feel that Christianity in their parents. So they grew up confused. They say, well, what Christianity is, like, is Christianity is this, is Christianity that, and then they just, okay, I want to live the life that have been advertised to me and my cell phone, and then they leave, and then after that they get the message again, they come back. But I think if parents, families practice this message, first, their kids will grow up knowing that only Jesus can do that through them, and then will be so loving to other people, and the church will be, yeah, will be very different state.
So, so then, if this message were to take root, then do you think that as Seventh Day Adventist Christians, we could impact the entire world?
Yes, yes, because right now the way that many churches, many religion are leading is like they mostly treating members as like a product.
Interesting.
They treat members like product, like, okay, you come to church, you have to be there because we need your assistance, and then you give your tithing, and then you serve, and then you go home, and then we don't care about you. We don't care how you feel. We don't care how what thing like is passing in your life right now. So they just treat you like a product, and then the pastors are CEOs. They come and manage, and then they leave. They have their own thing. Sometimes they don't visit anymore. Sometimes they just, well, I have my own family too to take care of, and then I don't have to be taking care of members, and all those ideas comes, and egoistical, like self-centered ideas, and like we don't have to care too much about people, because so yeah, this message, if we practice it, and well, it's not, if we have, like, if we come and have a relationship with Jesus, everything will be different, because he's the one making everything different.
Um, so that's the end of our discussion on those 6 pages. How do you feel?
Well, I was kind of nervous, but it's easier than I thought. Yeah.
Um, so, Gene, this goes to all of our board members. Is there any thoughts you would like to share with our board before we finish?
Well, I think like this message, the initiative that this ministry has taken to make students research more about this topic is very important. Every book had a unique message, as a unique thing that helped me to grow in my own understanding about this message. I was so impacted yesterday when was having a conversation with a friend that still had the previous understanding about justification through faith, and I was trying to explain it, and they said, "Wow, like now I understand." I said, "Well, I will never be able to explain this topic if I didn't take the chance to have this research. And yes, maybe this gonna help me and my tuition and all the stuff, but um, this helped me mostly in my personal life and my relationship with God and the way I will help others. So thank you for the opportunity.
Well, good. I enjoyed the conversation.
Me too.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Um,
you.
uh, this is a process. You were my second interview today, as you know.
Wonderful.
Sorry about the mix-up on time, but I have a saying that I make two mistakes a year, and I have three more to go.
Yeah, I thought like it was 9:30, so I said, okay, getting everything set up. But since you text me at nine, I said, well, okay, let's get in there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Sherry's going to turn off the recording because we have finished up, and uh,